Views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
When you add Be You plus Live Your Purpose, what do you get? Joy. That's the motto of Unstuck Joy with Vicki Todd. Vicki believes you were born with gifts that you're meant to use to make the world a brighter place. Have you ever wondered, is this all life has to offer? There must be more. If you answer yes, then Unstuck Joy is the show for you. Each show will feature a memoir artwork painted by Vicki that taps into universal themes of evolution, hope, inner strength, and self-growth. Vicki will also ask listeners to play along. Draw, doodle, collage, write, and or paint your way to soul clarity with Art Vision Journaling. Unstuck Joy will compel you to tune into your soul's whispers to realize your unique dreams. Get ready to get unstuck.
Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am so excited to be introducing all of you today to Unstuck Joy with my co-host today, Vicki Todd. This is about the art of living on purpose. Now, today's show is looking at feminine versus masculine traits, but you've heard that before, but I guarantee you're never going to experience it quite the way Vicki is going to introduce it to you today. This is the first in a series of Art Vision Journaling. For those of you that know who Vicki is, well, you might not know about what she's been up to. Here's what's so exciting about this. When I get to work with people, I work with some of the most extraordinary people on the planet. Vicki Todd is one of those people. You know her from Vicki World Art, but you also know about her book and the life that she has said yes to. What you don't know is that her creativity in the field of human potential and her willingness and knowledge to take tools and things that will help us expand our life is what today's show is about. You know, she believes in the transformational power of art. And so as a storyteller who expresses her life story through memoir artworks, today she is introducing something groundbreaking and phenomenal to all of you. Vicki, I'm so excited about this show and having you on here. Yay.
Thank you, Pat. I'm so excited to begin Unstuck Joy and building this community and relationship with the listeners out there.
Now, listen, I know we're going to tell everyone a bit about Unstuck Joy. We're going to tell them about, memoir art and so many other things. But there's something new you're introducing today, not just today, but a new way of working. And you just had an experience this weekend. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yes, through preparing for this show, this idea of art vision journaling has popped up. And so I've been fortunate to try that out in some in-person workshops. And so Monday, I taught a 3-hour workshop at the Women of Wisdom conference, which that conference is phenomenal. But with my art visioning workshop, I had the ladies look at the 3 chapters of their true self lives, building up to your true self. And so looking at your inner 8-year-old, what lit you up as a child, focusing on your future elder warrioress and what would she urge you to do before your last day on earth or else you'll regret it. And then looking at where you are now, what do you need to shed or allow to get to that point of being your true self? And one lady through the art visioning process where we meditated, we aligned with the universe, we had the art prompts, and I'll give everybody an art prompt during each of the Unstuck shows. And with a series of questions, what do you want me to discover? Who can I be? What do I need to shed or allow? How can I use my gifts in this area? And one lady said that her future elder downloaded to her that she needed to start doing moon meditations. And she said, I've never considered that before. And I said, don't poo-poo what was downloaded, just go for it. And so she was very excited, and it was an awesome thing to see.
Well, this is part of the ongoing journey that also talks about you and what happens in your life. We talk about situations that show up, right? We talk about how maybe we go through disappointments, but, you're going to share with people today what Unstuck Joy is. But you also have your own life journeys, which you call life flips, things that have happened. What is it that happens when our life maybe turns itself upside down? And what have your experiences been?
Well, for me, it's been kind of that roller coaster ride. It's not just a straight line from point A to point B. And so, you just have to be ready to roll with it. With my life flip number one, it was in 1998. I was in the 7th year of a not so great marriage. And I had caved into my mom, who was really pushing me to get pregnant. And I had known since I was a child that I never wanted to be a mother. That just wasn't my path. Uh-huh. And so I had gotten pregnant, and I was lost. I knew this wasn't my path, and I was literally on the bathroom floor at night crying and just praying to God. I feel hopelessly stuck. I don't want to be married. I don't want to be pregnant. Help. And I had a miscarriage in May of 1998. And literally 2 months later, in July, I was so lost, had no idea what my purpose was, but this call came from my former dean at Texas Tech University. And he said, hey, I saw your picture in the newspaper because, we were promoting the hair salon that my then husband and I owned. He was a hairdresser. And he said, I see you're not in a formal job. Would you like to teach a public relations writing class? And it starts tomorrow. And I just thought, oh my gosh, I'm scared to death, but I knew I had to take the leap because the alternative was to remain stuck. And so I taught the class. It went well. I went back for my doctorate degree, got a divorce, and started painting. I just thought it was a purging emotional release to go back to art, which I've always loved, and moved from Texas to Connecticut on my own to begin a new life as a professor. And so that was life flip number one. Life flip number two, in 2013, I began meditating with Deepak Chopra and Oprah's meditation series. And Deepak said, if you could be anything in life, no fear, no obstacles, what would that be? And an artist just popped into my mind, and I started crying because I thought, how can this be? I teach public relations. Art is, kind of turned into this part-time hobby that was shoved to the back burner. And it just started bothering me. And I knew that if I didn't take the leap and resign from my professor position to follow this path of art, my soul would shrivel and die. And so I resigned 2 years ago and somehow wound up in Washington State. Mm-hmm. And now I'm following my path of being an artist. I'm working on my second book, teaching these workshops. And now I've had the huge blessing of doing Unstuck Joy on the radio. Yeah. So it's awesome.
And part of this too is, and you're going to talk about this today, you're going to talk about what happens when we tap in to that nature of ourselves, that part of ourselves, which could literally unleash, or as you say, get us unstuck, but allow for the creativity to develop. Because, what you're talking about today was part of the creative process, right?
Absolutely. And it really is being the artist of your own life, being the creator of your own life. And part of that is just, like you said, being willing to say yes, even if you don't know the answer, because, the universe isn't going to hand you a map of how everything's going to work out. And so if you allow yourself to use some of these feminine traits that we'll talk about today, including surrendering to the universe, and get that next right step, then it's this process of, I'm creating this. It's not just happening to me. And that's the key to living with Unstuck Joy.
Okay. So for those people listening, you're going to hear a lot about Unstuck Joy. But, the concept of Unstuck Joy, it has a special set of principles. Tell us what some of those might be.
Okay. Principles of Unstuck Joy. Saying yes to the downloads that you receive from the universe. Absolutely. don't doubt. That's one thing that has taken me forever to overcome. And I can't say that I have totally overcome it, but I'm better. Don't doubt, those whispers that you feel in your heart from the universe. Because sometimes for me, I say, oh, no, that can't be true. That would be too good. Oh, no, that would never happen to me. But just say, what if? What if that is true? How would that change my life? And so surrendering and not giving into the doubt are the two biggest ones for me to be able to say yes and create that joy.
Awesome. And part of this is looking at a life and saying, today, you're on a vision, you're on a mission, Vicki, and you're here to help people understand that there are tools and techniques that are going to help us take these things that are just like the woman, be opening to what the universe wants to give us, visualizing something. And there's a difference, isn't there, between visualizing and visioning? What is that? Those are two words that people get seriously confused with each other.
Absolutely. With visualizing, we create a vision board a lot of times, which is absolutely very useful. But with visualizing, I'm using my own limited human perception to set a goal, to say, I want this project to work. I want this house or this job, and then say, hey, universe, help me out. With visioning, you're not setting the attention. You're throwing up a question to the universe. And in our case with this show, it will be through an art prompt. And you align with the universe, ask these really powerful soul questions, who should I be? What do I need to shed? And so on. And allow the universe to reveal to you what the intention is and how you can move forward. And so it's a very transformative, powerful spiritual process beyond, just the art.
This really taps into the conversation that Einstein had. You got to love Einstein. I've often thought, if there was somebody that I could have a little chat with, he certainly would be on my list. Right. Because he talked about imagination. And, he talked about imagination versus knowledge in many, many, many places. This what you've created here, this way for people to explore this, doesn't this also enable them to step into the world of imaginative possibilities?
Absolutely. And, I noticed in some of the workshops that I've been giving, people may not feel like they're an artist. They may not feel comfortable with drawing or doodling or painting. Mm-hmm. And so I have on there the option of collaging, just taking magazine photos and text that you're intuitively drawn to and start there. So just that, seeing an image that you really love and having that process of allowing the universe to reveal to you what that means to you, that can open up a huge imagination process, and then move into doodling and maybe doing a little drawing, because I really urge people to create something with your hands beyond the collaging, because that just makes it deeper and stronger and more meaningful to you.
I love it. We're going to take a short break, everyone. When we come back, what we're going to be talking with Vicki about is this idea of a memoir art. And what is that when we talk about art of the day and the meaning behind it? Do you have something inside you, something inwardly that is of enormous beauty that you would love to bring to the forefront? Put a little water on it, plant a few seeds, and watch it bloom. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Do you want to relax more, feel happier, and be more confident? Do you want to have more success in your life? Dave Dodge has some easy, effective methods to help you release your anxiety, worry, fear, depression, and even physical pain. Tune in to Stress Buster Radio with Dave Dodge every second Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. For more information on how Dave can help you release your stress, visit StressBusterRadio.com. Skype and phone sessions are available.
How would you like increased health and vitality? How would you like to avoid the onset of disease as well as slow the aging process? This is all possible through a simple, safe, and natural process. Every day we are either moving toward wellness or away from wellness.
Hi, I'm Mary Jane Mack. I'd like to be your partner in achieving optimal health. Contact me now at maryjanemack.com or call 425-392-0659. Visit maryjanemack.com.
What if your body and mind were the compasses to the secrets, mysteries, and magic of life? Glenna Rice, co-host of The Questionable Parent, is inviting you to access all that is possible. Glenna is a 10-year certified veteran access consciousness facilitator who offers an amazing variety of life-changing classes and workshops. Work with Glenna from anywhere with teleclasses and workshops all over the globe. To learn more and see Glenna's current schedule of events, classes, and workshops, visit glennarice.com.
Chris Stanis is a spiritual leader and healer and teaches a course on how you can transform your life through a meditation and healing system that will manifest your spirit's dreams. She manifested the Women of Wisdom Conference, the Women of Wisdom book, and this radio show. And she can show you how to change your life too. Are you ready? Visit the website and contact her at voicesofwomentoday.com. That's voicesofwomentoday.com.
Be you plus live your purpose equals joy. That's the motto of Unstuck Joy with Vicki Todd. Vicki believes you were born with gifts that are meant to make the world brighter. Each show will feature an art visioning journal prompt to help you create your way to soul clarity. If you're ready to get unstuck and create more joy, this show is for you. Tune in every month on Transformation Talk Radio. For more information, visit VickiWorldArt.com.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. I love co-hosting. Yeah, today's show, Unstuck Joy with Vicki Todd, the art of living on purpose. Now, we're talking about feminine, we're talking about masculine here. We're talking about whether or not, Vicki, these can play together. Now, clearly this show is groundbreaking in so many different ways. Before we get back to the topic, though, people are going to want to know, how do I do this? Where do I go? How do I find out more about Vicki? And, we're going to also let them know how to get a copy of your book.
Okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, my website is Vicki World Art, VICKI worldart.com. And I have an art visioning tab in the menu of my website. And so if you click on the art visioning tab, it will give you a whole page talking about art vision journaling, what it is, what are the benefits, the art supply list, some of the supplies that I use. It gives you the process with the questions that people use, during the art visioning to ask the universe. And I have photos of some of my art visioning pages and some of those from my students. And so from there's another tab to go to the Art Vision prompt. And that's where we'll house each of the prompts for each of the Unstuck Joy shows that people can go to and access the prompt.
Awesome. And we're going to tell you more about how this works, because that's the way today's show is all about. Let's talk about the idea of memoir art. Many people, I think I heard about that, but I don't know what that is. Tell us a little bit about this, because this is something that you've created and it is extremely powerful.
Right. It's something that the universe created for me before I realized what I was doing.
Like radio did for me, right?
Absolutely. So you never know. But in that process of after my divorce, going back to school for my doctorate degree at Texas Tech and knowing that I was going to have to move after graduation, I just somehow gravitated toward painting. And I do not know why, Pat, but I started painting these expressive female portraits. And the Inner Beauty Blooming that I have on my my site for today, that was the first of my memoir portrait series. And I didn't really realize until after I painted the third one, oh, you're really painting a visual diary of what's happening in your life. Mm-hmm. So that's why I call it memoir art. Each painting represents something that was happening during my life at a certain snapshot in time. So that's where that came from.
Well, I mean, it's beautiful in that, this is a way we can express things, but we actually it's unlike taking a picture, Vicki, and this is really, I've thought about this a lot. It's unlike taking a picture because it literally involves an energetic connection to what's being created. And I find that absolutely activating. And so how does it help us with our emotions? What have you discovered about this?
Oh, well, when I first painted Inner Beauty Blooming and then the subsequent portraits after that, I was, going through that really itchy, sticky time of after divorce, really changing my life, being upset, angry, afraid. And I saw painting as kind of this purging emotional release to get out my feelings of anxiety and fear and determination and hope. And it's really great that years later, when I started meditating in 2013, I think I painted Inner Beauty Blooming in 2001. I finally realized that, oh, your purpose is art. And oh, by the way, you started that process back in 2001 with this, series of these memoir portraits. And so, the universe had used that not just as a personal thing of self-therapy, but later on as this trail toward my purpose in life. Mm-hmm. And so the universe is sneaky in a good way.
One of the things too that we're going to talk about today is, sometimes the universe shows up, doesn't it? And we don't know it's there. And like you described in your experience over the weekend with working with a group of people, this process, doesn't this allow us to become more aware, to hear that voice more?
Yes, and that really came across to the ladies in my WOW workshop on Monday. One came up to me and she said, well, this is like a vision board because it looks like a vision board. We're using pieces of poster board and drawing and pasting stuff on it. And I said, it is. However, it's that process of aligning with the universe and asking those deep soul questions and letting the intentions and revelations and discoveries be revealed to you. And so everybody really got that. It was a deeper, transformational, spiritual process, more so than us, in our limited human vision, setting our own intentions. We're allowing through the vision journaling, art visioning, to allow the universe to tell us what that intention should be and how to get there.
Yeah. So let's take a look at this idea of masculine versus feminine.
Yes.
And, we hear it over and over again. I got to tell you that it's getting so much press right now, because of the latest superhero movies coming out with women playing such a dominant role. I think Scarlett Johansson is out there just changing the venue for everybody, let alone Wonder Woman. And yet, if you look at the Wonder Woman of today, holy cow, feminine, masculine, all in one.
Right.
What is this? What is going on here with all of it? And what is the difference between a masculine and a feminine trait?
Well, this is great. I'm in an online class called Feminine Power by Claire Zammit, and she had listed masculine traits versus feminine traits and invited us to close our eyes. She read the traits and, we could see how it made us feel. So for instance, some of the masculine: external, structure, control, doing, purpose-driven, predictable, perfection. Then compare that to feminine traits of internal, emotional, flow, surrender, love-driven, chaotic, wild, nonlinear. And what I realized is during that life flip number 1, of going from non-working wife to university professor, I was really using masculine traits because, that's how I was brought up. There are steps in school. I had grown up with the premise that success, you have to work hard, there has to be struggle. And so I was really running away from this broken life, being broken open and resisting every step, even though it was the best thing for me, but I was angry and scared. And so also with the masculine, just going through the steps of I'm going back to school, I'm taking these classes, I'm going to have to move. And, it was very masculine driven. But in life flip number 2, resigning from the professor position and just taking off to live this purpose that was downloaded to me from meditation, I realized that, I'm living more of a feminine trait life. And that's been a huge shift. That doesn't happen overnight. But this time I was running joyfully, surrounded by love toward this life purpose that I was just so happy to take on, even though I was really scared because I can't see the outcome. But just allowing that flow and surrender and allowing the invisible hands of the universe to bring me this power and strength and resources that I could never do on my own. And so what I found is they do play well together, that if we'll surrender to the universe through, for me, it's meditation, maybe it's for others, yoga, listening to music, things like walking in nature, but allowing the universe to reveal to me when I'm in that aligned state what the next right step is. And that's the feminine surrender, going with the flow. But then knowing the next right step, that inspired step, is when the masculine kicks into action. But that's so much better than just relying on my own ego and the masculine steps, being on this hamster wheel of doing. And probably 80% of those steps don't work because they weren't inspired. So they do play well together if you can do the surrender and listen first and be willing to just get one breadcrumb clue at a time, because that's usually how it works.
Yeah. One of the things that I've discovered is we used to say one is good, one is bad. I mean, I know you've heard this, right?
Yeah.
Can you imagine like me sitting around my grandma's, well, my grandma is not a good example, but around the coffee table with my dad and saying, Dad, I want to get up and I want to grow up and I want to go to school. And, I think I'd like to get a PhD in psychology. You got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
That was just not going to happen, but we've come a long way.
Yes.
And so how do we integrate the masculine and the feminine energies? And the misconception here is, isn't it, that if you're a woman, you got the feminine. If you're a man, you're a masculine. But that is not what we're talking about, right?
No, not at all. Because there are a lot of women out there, because of how our society is, how our school is. I know that my parents were that way too. The masculine is kind of drilled into us because that's kind of the quote unquote norm, that life is hard. It's a struggle. You have to achieve. It's hard work to get there. And the end destination is the only thing that matters. What if you could say, oh, what if I could feel joy on the journey? And then when I get to the destination, it's even sweeter because I've enjoyed every step of the way. That's a much more feminine way. And so both guys and girls, can do the combo of the feminine and the masculine. And it just takes work because it's, opposite to usually how we've been raised.
Well, one of the things too that you're going to share with us today is we get to flip things, just like you just said. But how we go about that is not as easy as we think. And so in taking a look at this and taking a look at, what this could be about for us, we certainly can stop for a minute and say, wait a minute, the Art Visioning Journal plays a very, very important part in this. Absolutely. And, this is something that you're introducing to us today. And I'd like to get right to that. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Gifted intuitive healer and spiritual teacher Sarah Luce brings her unique style to the hit show Small Steps, Big Breakthrough Radio on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Tune in each month as Sarah turns reality on end and shows us how to experience expansive results with simple yet powerful steps. Expect an enlightening bend on what you currently believe is possible. For show details and upcoming topics, visit sarahluce.com. That's SARALOOS.com.
Sky Siegel co-hosts one of today's most popular psychic shows, Angels and Answers, with Artie Hoffman, as she communicates healing messages from the spirit world. These messages can be astounding, enlightening, and life-changing. Born with the God-given talent of inner guidance and the amazing ability to heal, Sky has healed thousands of people. Schedule a reading with Sky now. Call 908-500-1474 and visit skyofangels.com.
Tune in to The Truth is Funny with Colette Steffen each Wednesday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. This hit show will have you thinking outside the box and riding the wave of infinite potential. Join Colette on the Higher Self Network, inspiring listeners to shine their brilliance and ensure success while roaring with laughter as they recognize the humor of the giant cosmic joke. Visit thetruthисfunny.com.
Did you know that all of the shows on the Transformation Radio Network are available as podcasts to stream or download?
Really?
Check us out. Go to transformationradio.fm. We have business shows, spiritual shows, energy healing shows, and pretty much everything in between. Something for everyone, guaranteed to inspire, educate, and transform. We are transforming the world, one listener at a time.
Be you plus live your purpose equals joy. That's the motto of Unstuck Joy with Vicki Todd. Vicki believes you were born with gifts that are meant to make the world brighter. Each show will feature an art visioning journal prompt to help you create your way to soul clarity. If you're ready to get unstuck and create more joy, this show is for you. Tune in every month on Transformation Talk Radio. For more information, visit VickiWorldArt.com.
Are you ready for a game changer? Sarah Westall is bringing you Business Game Changers Radio. Sarah brings you leading experts, visionaries, and newsmakers who provide the best commentary on big issues and cutting-edge innovations. Sarah's 20 years as a business executive will help you think like an entrepreneur with expertise, energy, and attitude. Tune in to Business Game Changers Mondays at noon Pacific, 3 Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. So when we take a look, Vicki, at how the masculine and feminine work together, you've created a way to help people with this. And so the Art Visioning Journal helps us with this. And earlier in the show, you talked about the prompt of the day.
Yes.
Now, there is an entire experience that people can have now. Tell us what the process is.
Well, the way that I look at these art visioning prompts, we'll do one for each show. And so I was reminded of that quote that says, to get to our true self is like revealing 1,000 veils. And so we'll reveal one veil at a time through these art prompts as we go. And so it really is very transformational, very spiritual, because you're tapping in to the universe through this list of questions. What do you want me to discover? How can I perceive this differently? Oh, that's such a powerful question. Who do I need to be in this area of my life? What is the next inspired step I can take to grow or evolve? And how can I use my gifts? We're all born with gifts that we're meant to use to make the world brighter. So how can I use those? So with this art visioning journal process, you really are using those feminine traits to align with the universe, ask these questions, see what is downloaded to you, and, allow the universe to help you express it in your art journal, whether it's through collaging with magazine photos or text. I use colored markers and Crayolas. Crayolas are such a joy because that was something from our childhood that was so fun. And use a combination. You can collage and draw and write and doodle all on the same page.
Yeah.
So that's using the feminine to allow this stuff to be downloaded and revealed to you. And through that process, maybe you'll find that next right step or another level, another layer of that onion peeling back of who you truly are, and then go forward in the world using that. And that turns into a masculine action.
Yeah, what's interesting about what you're saying is I was really struck by, as a child, what I used to do. And I was one of these kids that loved comic books, and I would love to draw these comic book characters. And then I got away from it, Vicki, and really didn't get back to it. Did a little doodling. I was known as the doodler, right?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I should have been paying attention to school stuff, but I love drawing geometrical shapes, strange things. And what I found about my doodling is, and even to this day, I doodle things that are symmetrical.
Mm.
So if I doodle a doodle thing on the left side of the paper, I will create the mirror image on the right unconsciously.
Wow.
Now, probably maybe should go to therapy about that or something, but but that's what I think you're talking about. And if I fast forward to what happened to me when I moved to Seattle, is I started to draw. I have no drawing experience. I didn't go to school for it. And one day, Vicki, I created an art piece, and I'll have to show it to you. And it was so out of the box that I can't even begin to tell you what the meaning is. Can you
Mm.
talk a little bit about this process? Because I think we really get hung up and I'm not doing it good enough. That's not really art. Tell us about this process because we need to shed this part of ourselves, right?
Yes. Well, I'm going to answer that question by explaining my art visioning page that I
Yes.
created for this prompt because I had the exact same experience.
Nice.
Okay, so the prompt for this show is female archetypes, since we're talking about masculine versus feminine. And just intuitively, I have a list of, I think it's 45 archetypes by Carl Jung. And there's a little bit of overlap on the list, but not very much. And so just intuitively, I think you can gravitate toward, oh, that sounds like me, or oh, that used to be me, or oh, I want that to be me. And so that's how you choose your archetypes. So I was doing a page with my pioneer, my rebel, because, obviously I'm not a traditional stay in the box kind of gal with my 2 life flips, and also the creative/artist and storyteller. And for Pioneer and Rebel, I had seen this picture on Facebook that somebody posted of an elephant that was zebra striped and had 2 butterfly ears that were pink monarch butterfly ears. And I thought, okay, I'm going to collage my little elephant. And so I got her done. And all of a sudden, these voices started really coming loud and fast in my head saying, oh my gosh, you quit your professor job, your tenured professor job, and you were chair for this. You should be embarrassed. You can't show this to anybody. And I thought, whoa, back up, sister. Something's going on. So I went back to the art visioning questions. And the ones that really struck out are, how can I perceive this differently? Who do I need to be? What do I need to allow? And I remembered that I had seen Mark Nepo, who is a poet and philosopher. And he says that we go through this life cycle of exploration, mastery, and abandonment. And I thought, oh, that makes sense. It's okay for this to look like an 11-year-old girl did it because I'm back in that exploration phase of creating this new life. And I had rejected the little circular thing that I collaged in the upper left-hand corner. I had earlier rejected that, and I went back to it and I glued it on because it's a really tall structure from the Burning Man, that kind of spiritual music art festival in the desert. And this structure is a really tall, sturdy person standing way above ground. And I thought, that's my true self, who's so strong and knowledgeable and, knows what she wants. And so I put this quote by Mary Oliver from one of her poems, tell me, what is it you plan to do with your wild and precious life? And that's my true self asking that. And the little 11-year-old elephant is saying, I'll use my archetypes of pioneer and storyteller and creative and rebel to create this new life and move to that mastery phase. And so it was a deep process for me and really took me by surprise.
Wow. And when we think about the process and going through it, there is magic that happens on the other side. And that's really what we're talking about. Just like what happened, at the event that you went to this weekend, you really can't predict when something is going to be given to someone or given to yourself to help people move. If you're stuck, that's why this is called Unstuck Joy. If you're stuck, what you've created, Vicki, is a way to help people keep moving forward, keep moving towards their dream, right?
Right. And if something pops up that you think, oh, no, that can't be right, maybe I heard it wrong. Trust me, I've been the master of maybe I heard it wrong. Don't doubt it. Maybe just write it down so you don't forget and just let it sit and then go back to it later and say, hey, universe, how can I see this? What do you want me to discover about this? Because if it popped up during that process, it's probably spot on and you should pay attention to it.
Yeah. And, part of this too is people can go to your website and they certainly can find more information about that. Why don't you go ahead and give folks your website, and then we're going to go take a short break because we got much more to talk about today with Vicki Todd. And by the way, we'd love to give a copy of Vicki's book away, 1-800-930-2819. 1-800-930-2819. What's the best way, Vicki, for people to find out more about you, more about your book, and if they want to schedule time with you as well?
Okay. My website is the best way to reach me. And so it's Vicki World Art, VICKI worldart.com. And there's a book link where they can check out my book, Unstuck. There's the art visioning link where they can check out the art visioning process, and that will lead them to the prompts for each show. And there's a contact me link, and that has my email address that is Vicki@VickiWorldArt.com.
Okay, everybody, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk with Vicki about how do we discover our female archetypes? And then once we do, what do we do with that? How do we tap in to our very, very feminine vulnerability and also ignite our lives by taking inspired masculine action? Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Get ready to experience Truth Talk Radio with host Deb Acker. Tune in to Truth Talk Radio each Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com to illuminate the truth in your daily life as you experience life, love, and abundance from a whole new perspective. This hit show will leave you feeling lighter and bring you into a place of infinite possibilities every day in every way. Visit TruthTalkRadioshow.com for upcoming transformative topics and guests.
Hi, this is Leslie Fontaine, and my show is Sheer Alchemy on TransformationTalkRadio.com. When we're bogged down with our emotions, the hardships that plague us in our relationships, at work, our finances, we literally can't see the higher plane where we could be operating from. Tune in to Leslie Fontaine, Sheer Alchemy on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
The Earth is an ever-changing being. Goddess Light Shamanic Healer Bree Gibbs guides us through the ascending worlds, bringing forth knowledge and truth. As a light creator, she is here to provide new information needed at this time in our evolution. Join Bree as she shares messages from guides, spirits, ascended masters, goddesses, and others. Tune in the second and fourth Monday, 11 a.m. Pacific, and Thursdays, 1 p.m. Pacific for Silver Gaia Radio.
Artie Hoffman is the hottest psychic with the warmest heart and the host of the hit show Angels and Answers. A renowned psychic, medium, spiritual life coach, and an entertaining motivational speaker, Artie has helped over 15,000 people with his amazing intuitive gifts, his passion, and his humor. Call 877-ANGEL-02 to schedule a personal reading or to have your own psychic Artie party. That's 877-ANGEL-02. And visit ArtieHoffman.com and Angels and Answers on Facebook.
Be you plus live your purpose equals joy. That's the motto of Unstuck Joy with Vicki Todd. Vicki believes you were born with gifts that are meant to make the world brighter. Each show will feature an art visioning journal prompt to help you create your way to soul clarity. If you're ready to get unstuck and create more joy, this show is for you. Tune in every month on Transformation Talk Radio. For more information, visit VickiWorldArt.com.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back. This is super, super exciting. We are so thrilled to have Vicki Todd joining us here today because this is something that came to her in a way that she's describing on the show, a process that she is introducing to the world. Vicki, thank you so much for this. We started out talking about what this art visioning was about, art visioning journaling. And so you've just taken us on a journey to discover our female archetypes. And, that requires for all of us to know a bit more about it. But doesn't art visioning journaling help us discover this in a very safe way?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is for your eyes only. If you do not want another soul to look at this, it's like having a diary. You usually do that in private and don't show anybody. So think of this as an art diary, an art visioning diary of sorts. So, it's just for you, and whatever pops up, and it doesn't have to be, this beautiful masterpiece.
Awesome. So what is it that we should know now that we go on this journey and embark to explore, to discover how to tap into our feminine vulnerability, and then how to ignite our lives by taking inspired masculine action?
Yeah. With the archetype list, just meditate over it, look at the list, they will start popping up to you, which categories fit with you, which archetypes fit with you. And looking at blending the masculine and the feminine and how the art visioning can help you through that process, I did a second page after my little elephant. And with this one, I used 3 other archetypes of hermit, mystic, and seeker. And I realized through this process, this exploration of this new life, I really have to be more of a hermit to get quiet and listen and allow my mystic to tap into my higher source, to have those downloads. And the art visioning is one way to do that. But that allows my seeker to see the next right step. And so that's using the feminine, getting in a space to listen to the higher source, but then using that information to use the masculine, to keep moving on. And so this was a really instructive exercise, of how I can keep combining the feminine and the masculine to evolve toward my true self and live more joy.
Well, and doesn't it also help us discover what's holding us back in a sense?
Yes. Well, that first page with the elephant, I could not believe that some of those limiting beliefs have popped up after, because I've really worked on this for the past 2 years at least. And it was really shocking. But that just shows that some of those deep rooted limiting beliefs are still there. And okay, then I work through them. But realizing exploration, mastery, abandonment, it's okay. I'm exploring one more time. And what joy. That's a joyful space to be in.
Well, this is a time where, we know sometimes we're being called, right? We know we're being called to step forth and do some things in life that if you look around, the people around us are asking, really? You're going to do what? And yet we know in our hearts that, yes, we are going to do it. This is what we want to do. And it's going to get us to the place where we ultimately want to go. How do we trust ourselves to get there? Will the art help us reveal the true nature of things to us?
Yes. And I love that you just made that point, Pat, because one of the masculine traits is very external and listening to all the outside voices. The feminine is going internal and listening to that higher voice of your higher self and your source. So the art visioning, I find doing my own art, on canvas and also with this art visioning in the journal, the page will tell you what's going on. And I always say the universe is kind of creepy in a good way because it reveals to you these things that you're not expecting. And so through the art visioning process of, really communing with the universe and asking those questions and letting those answers be revealed, sometimes the page shows you something. Like you said, you do the mirror image very symmetrically. And so maybe through this process, you could kind of find out, oh, I'm doing that because of this, and so it will bring up messages and the next right step and maybe who you can evolve into to get to that true self level. I guarantee something's going to bubble up that you'll be surprised by, but also will take you toward living unstuck joy.
Well, I mean, that is that is the name of the show, but also it is something that you live by. You
Absolutely.
live by this. And we can think about how we're using our masculine and feminine traits each day. There's an exercise that you help us with in this. How important is it for us to be mindful of this, of whether, this is a masculine trait now, this is a feminine trait, or is there a way to make these two live together, happily ever after?
Yeah. Well, you may just, if you haven't really thought about, am I acting, from masculine or feminine, you may just, do a little experiment for the next week and pay attention to your actions, your thoughts, your feelings, and say, is that just a masculine thing of I'm listening to all the external voices and I'm being very goal driven and just very structured? Or am I coming from this softer, maybe more unpredictable, going with the flow and surrendering position? And so if you can kind of be aware of your thoughts and feelings and, what you're doing, then I think it maybe will be a little bit more clear that, to have the feminine thing, you need to start out with that, be vulnerable. It's going to take vulnerability to surrender, go with the flow, listen to that information from the universe, and then take that, don't doubt it, and see what the next right step is, and then act on it through your masculine traits of doing that action. So what I found is this process, it will allow you to do fewer, more effective actions when you surrender and listen than just a whole bunch of hamster wheel doing actions where it's very hit or miss. So it's a hard transition because, I've had to work months, to get to this and for it to become my quote unquote norm. But once you get there, it really is a beautiful and joyful way to live.
Awesome. There are so many things we're going to talk about in the next couple of weeks. And I think that's important for us to just mention briefly here if we could. And that is, okay, now we know we're getting the process going. And so for you, as you look at these next weeks and what we're going to share, give folks a sneak peek if you could.
Okay. Well, this show, we're doing the female archetypes and, paying attention to who we are, because the archetypes are characteristics, behavior patterns. And so they really do, they determine, what college major you choose. They determine what job you take, what relationships you're in. So having more knowledge, being more aware, that really does help you, figure out who your true self is. Next month, we're going to look at the power of language and what language you can use, along with having the feeling behind it, to be more powerful to manifest what you want in life and move toward that true self.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited about that process.
Yeah, because one of the things we don't realize, and I know you're going to point this out as we move forward, is that we can contribute greatly to an outcome.
Yes.
We can contribute greatly to an outcome. And, this series we're doing with you and your fabulous show, Unstuck Joy, is going to help us to flag these things before we go down the rabbit hole with them, right?
Right. Yes. And that's like taking off one veil at a time. Don't feel like you have to dump everything and do everything now. It's just a gentle, flowing, feminine, surrendering process of one art prompt at a time, one lesson at a time. And, then it's like, oh, wow, look how far I've come all of a sudden.
Yeah. And, what would you like to say to people that are thinking, wait a minute, I am not an artist, because we already just had this conversation with Linda, right? This really is less about art and more about inspiration and revelation, right?
Right. Please trust me. This is a very transformative, spiritual, deep learning process. So that's the crux of it. It's just how you're expressing it is through this art journaling, this art visioning, because it takes you to a place that's different and deeper than just writing something out. Something about the creative process helps you express things that maybe you didn't know were there. And so it's a very nonlinear process. But like I said, go to the Art Visioning tab on my website, and it has a list of art supplies. And if you want to just start out with going to buy, a 79-cent piece of poster board and collaging with magazine photos, totally fine. Start there. But I do encourage you to try to draw, doodle. You'll notice I doodle the same flowers all the time. And so, that's totally fine. So, but I do think when you create something with your own hands, it does have deeper meaning and symbolism to you.
Well, one more time, give out your website, and thank you for a fabulous show and lots more to come.
Oh, thank you. It's Vicki World Art, VICKI, worldart.com.
Awesome. And I'm Dr. Pat. And remember, everyone, that there is something inside of you that is waiting to be unstuck. Unstuck Joy. We'll see you next time.
You've been listening to Unstuck Joy, the art of living on purpose with Vicki Todd. This hit show is where your higher purpose is revealed and cultivated. Now you too can share your unique light and special gifts with the world. Vicki's dedication to raising your life's purpose to something extraordinary is unending. So don't miss out on your opportunity. Catch Unstuck Joy monthly with Vicki Todd and Dr. Pat Basile. For more information about Vicki and her work, go to VickiWorldArt.com. That's VICKI, worldart.com.